food right now, because while you may not realize it, Easter is very early this year. It's I think in practically the third week of March. So that's why our ship dates for all of the things that we're talking about are either now or March 14th, because we want to make sure you're prepared. What we have from Mrs.Prindable's is perfect for that occasion or any occasions in between, because there are no specific Easter colors being used here. How many years have we had Mrs.Prindable's on QVC, Lori?
Right about 25 years,
oh
if
my
you
gosh.
can believe it. Thereabouts.
Deserve hugs. This
you.
particular assortment is one of my
Love
favorites.
it. And you're not alone, Sharon. I mean, this is year after year, the candy bar flavors are our most popular flavors.
We love it. You're getting 4 different flavors, 4 apples in each of the 4 flavors. And before we go through them, I just want you to know that they sold out much like what we were talking about with our fillets. Sold out the last 2 days they were presented, most recently in December. So it's taken us a couple of months to get them back. Can you walk us through the flavors?
I sure will. And as you look at this and you're wanting to kind of compare it to other Mrs.Prindable's assortments, the word here is more. More apples than the typical assortment and more flavors. And we're going to start at the very bottom with a great, great flavor. Do you like Heath bars? The light brown that you see there, that's Heath bar toffee. We combined it with milk chocolate chips. We started with that Orchard Fresh apple, dunked it in the caramel, and all of that rolled on top. That's the first 4 of your 16 individually wrapped apples. The next 4 inspired by those candy-coated milk chocolate drops that we love so much. And look at those festive colors. It's a great reminder of what Sharon said. This is great for Easter time, but this is great for any time that you want to celebrate with your friends and family.
Anything fun,
or give
any
gifts.
celebration.
Exactly. The next one, this has got to be my favorite because I am such a sucker. Dark chocolate peanut butter cups came out a few years ago. And it was just, it's a big
great
moment.
Experience. It was a big moment.
It was a big moment.
I agree.
This is dark chocolate peanut butter cup flavor because those are dark chocolate chips and peanut butter chips on the caramel, on the apple, and at the very tip top, oh my gosh, this is a perennial favorite.
This is America's favorite, I would have to say.
Indeed. Nestle's Crunch Pieces and milk chocolate chips,
Love
16 in all.
And you know what? This is already popular. I would lock this in. We do have an auto delivery option, but there's only 2 deliveries. The one that you choose at first, which is either immediately or the week of March 14th, and your second shipment will be in December, just on time for Christmas. So I wanted to let you know that, and that your shipping is included with both shipments. You know what else, Lori, as you're doing this?
Yeah.
I can't believe that each one of these gourmet apples breaks down to $3.06 a piece.
That's one of the best things about doing 16 apples, doing lots of apples.
You get such a great price.
So
you know, it's like cost per wear for clothes and jewelry. This is
I
price
love
per
that.
apple if you're going to be giving them away.
So
but what
true.
is truly the Mrs.Prindable's difference?
You
Because
know,
frankly, I do see apples similar looking out on the marketplace, but when I've tried them, the quality to me is not the same. What is that difference?
You know, it's really simple, and it's nothing you know, earth-shattering that we do, but we just make sure we start with great ingredients. The apples are straight from our orchards, all U.S. orchards, to our Mrs.Prindable's kitchen. Right before they ship out to you, we dunk them in that homemade, melt-in-your-mouth buttery caramel that we are famous for. That's on every apple we do. And then that's what adheres to the apple and just kind of blankets it when it comes to rolling the toppings. In this case, this is the dark chocolate peanut butter cup. So those are dark chocolate chips and peanut butter chips. We even do a final step of hand applying toppings to make sure it's completely blanketed and all
so
that
you don't get
goodness.
any blank spots.
No
is what
blank
we're trying
spots.
to
Heaven
say.
forbid.
And this is what this is how it begins. You know, you have the produce on the inside, so you have to wait for the produce to arrive. And then when it arrives, this is one of those major secrets, because if the caramel isn't just right, then the apple simply is not a Mrs.Prindable's. And when it comes home to you, it's so beautifully boxed. And I love that you've made the transition. Instead of writing on the bags, there are these labels now where you can write very easily flat on the table, and you peel off the sticker and then you put it on the apple if you're going to give it as a gift.
Exactly. So that accommodates 16 individual gifts, and that's what you're seeing here when you open up the box. Also, keep this in mind for that bill to ship too.
I agree.
If you can't be with family that you love so much, with kids or without, these are great for adults as well. Send this to be shipped at that second ship date in March, and it'll be perfectly fresh for Easter. Put them in the fridge right when you get them. Keep them there until about an hour before you plan to cut into them. The dark chocolate is not a killer.
I got to tell you, there's a reason this is sold out the last 2 days it was presented, because if you've never tried a Mrs.Prindable's apple before, it's almost indescribable. The apple is sweet, but just a hint tart. It's crisp and it's juicy. And then you get that caramel that is so buttery and so sweet. And then your toppings, which provide extra texture that go along with that as well. There's no other treat in the world that's like it.
It's so true in that when I bring this out, even it's with my family, I've been working with Mrs. Prindables for years now. Still, when I bring it out for my family, because it's like nothing else that we have, I mean, we get delighted, and it becomes an event right after dinner, right when my girls come home from school. If you're going to have a celebration, and this is on the dessert table, people are going to gather and talk. You remember when you had caramel apples as a kid, and you appreciate how these go beyond the quality and the taste of those.
Absolutely. I've attempted to do something like this in my own kitchen, and it was a miserable failure. And I'm just more than happy to admit that, because I think many of us have thought, oh, I can do that, and then it just doesn't work out quite right. Like the caramel's not sticking for some reason. I did something wrong in my recipe. It's a true art form. So, speaking of parties and gatherings and celebrations, I can see the apples that you have here on this little tray.
Oh, I'm so glad you
How
put-
many apples are here? Because that's a lot of snacking.
I love that you're showing. That's just 4 of these apples. That's 1/4 of the 16 that you get. And just to get an idea about the sheer quantity, I want to show this as well.
Okay.
Each of these, we have kind of an apple lined up with some of the ingredients, and 1 apple is cut on each of these plates.
Yeah.
That's 1 apple. You've often mentioned, I mean, this is what I do in my family. I just get 1 apple out, and we just gather around that apple and just so enjoy those chunks. Oh, and if we're talking about the quantity of 16, easily 8 pieces.
Yes.
You know, more than 100 of these wedges in total if you're cutting them all up at one time. Keep that in
And
mind.
before we go through the flavors again, I
Yes.
need to ask you, if someone's doing this for the first time, how do we keep them staying fresh when we get them home?
Good. So you'll put them in the fridge right when you get them at home. Keep them there to lengthen the freshness of the apples.
Because it is an apple.
It is an apple, and then take them out about an hour before you plan to cut them. We say they stay fresh up to 3 weeks, so if you want these for Easter, get that second ship date.
Yes, in March.
In March, exactly, and that'll be, plenty fresh for Easter and beyond.
Just delicious. 16 total apples, all individually wrapped. They're $3.06 a piece. So a lovely way to give little gifts around the Easter time holiday, or just to put on people's place settings for Easter. So what are the 4 flavors we get again?
So we're starting with the Heath Bar Toffee. That's the very bottom. Pieces of chunks of Heath Bar Toffee and milk chocolate chips. The candy-coated milk chocolate drops are next. 4 of those. We're going up to a total of 16, remember. Dark chocolate peanut butter cups here, dark chocolate chips and peanut butter chips. And at the very tip top, Nestle's Crunch pieces and milk chocolate chips all together.
Getting 4 of each of those delicious flavors. Your item number M43348. Lock it in auto delivery for 1 future shipment in December. Your featured price is expiring at the end of the month. Ms. Lori Shore, thank you so very much.
All right, I want to remind you about the Kansas City 16 or 32